I'm good. How you doing?
Good, good. Oh my God, I haven't been live in so long. I'm so excited to be here.
And I'm so grateful that you said yes in coming on. I've followed you for quite a while now. Um, I've never
Yeah,
had the opportunity to kind of get to know you on a bit of a deeper level, so I'm really excited for this.
yeah, same. Exactly the same boat, different paddle.
All right, guys. So welcome to the Intuitive Hour. I am your host, Jen, the number one vibist in the world. I'm probably the only one because I'm self-proclaimed, but we'll leave it there. And we have an amazing guest tonight, Abigail, also known as Absolute Spud. Where did that name come
Yes.
from, by the way?
So Spud being a potato, I am a potato.
Oh, I fucking love it. All right. So the way things work tonight, guys, is I've got a series of questions for Abigail to answer and kind of tell us a bit about her story. We will save the questions for the end. And then at the end, Spud might pull a couple of cards for a selected few in here and we'll do a bit of a read. All right.
That would be
So
amazing. Looking forward to it.
amazing. Awesome. All right. So tell us, what is your story? Tell us about what you do and how it came to be.
Okay, so how it came to be first. It's funny that this question's come up because only in the last couple of weeks have I really realized that the awakening that I had started long, long before I realized it was actually happening.
Mm.
Um, so I've been through my awakening for about 4 to 5 years now. And I remember my first mediumship encounter when I was in a pretty rough relationship. I was being cheated on every weekend, basically. And I remember hearing in my head after my great grandmother passed, I heard, you can leave. You choose not to. You can
Mm.
go. You don't deserve this. It was the first time in my head that I heard that I didn't deserve it and that I was capable of more. Um, because for so long I was told that I wasn't good enough and I wasn't pretty enough and I wasn't this, I wasn't that. And for the first time, I went, you know what? Fuck yeah. And I went, I can kick him out. I don't owe him anything. I am good enough. And I don't know what I'm doing, but that's okay. We'll wing it. So I did. But yeah, I didn't know I was going through a phase of awakening at that point
Mm.
until, usually when people have their spiritual awakening, it's a pretty hectic time in their lives. And for me, it was, I was in this full on job um, as a waitress. However, it was the head of Naval, Military, and Air Force, all coming together, all government, parliament, all of that. They would all come, and I'd be the one organising all their dinners, right? Or functions, etc. And I wasn't happy. I wasn't eating. I was smoking herbs. I was drinking. I was very miserable, not looking after myself. I wasn't catching up with friends unless it was for beers. Um, didn't see family, lost a lot of people, and I just wasn't there. My priority was making money at the time. And when I would explain that to the people I worked with, I wasn't happy. They were like, "But you make good money." So I stayed because I didn't matter, but I was making good money, right? Until one day I was called my partner up and I was in the wine cellar and I was like, I'm not happy. This isn't worth the money. And he said, we'll leave. And I went, but it's not that easy. I don't have a backup plan. I don't have this. He goes, yeah, but you know what? I got you. You don't need to have a backup plan. I've got you. And so I went, okay. I wasn't used to someone having my back, you know? So I said, 2 weeks I'm out. 2 weeks I was out, no job, anything. And in fact, we went on holiday. We spent more, right? Then we came back and I was still drinking and I was still into those types of habits, right? Until one day, my partner and I had a very bad night. And I remember being in the bathroom and going, what the fuck? Like, you know, what the fuck? What am I here for? What am I here for? This is shit, you know, much worse than that. much worse. I remember going to bed that night and seeing, when my eyes were closed, just symbols tunneling through what I now know as my third eye. You know, I was seeing all these shapes. I thought I was like way too high for this. You know, I was like, wow. And then I woke up the next day and I was feeling things a bit different. I was noticing a lot of signs and synchronicities, and I felt called to go do certain things. And I just thought, well, it's not like I'm working. I may as well go do those things. And then I found a job, found a person, and she was like, the chef at the time, she goes, I don't let people borrow my cards, but I just thought you seem like you should be playing with these. Played with them. Boom. Chills. Mediumship connected straight away to my past animal, connected to my grandmother, and it just skyrocketed from there. It was just, I went straight into the books, learning, you know, chakras, what's kundalini, what's a twin flame, karmics, and all of that. And yeah, off I went. It was crazy. So, you know, a few years later, had a period of homelessness not long after that, and found a place, and then started manifesting. What do I want in this place? I would like a home office. I want to turn this into a business. Why not? I've got me. I know I can do this, you know? And then, yeah, I did. I ended up quitting as a waitress, started doing this as my full-time job, and have never turned back. Absolutely love it. Every single time I get into that intuitive zone, that high priestess or currently empress situation, it's just, oh, yes. Claim it.
No, I love that.
So
That's
what
such
do
a
I do
story.
now? Yeah. I do so much now because I went so into the books and stuff. I went through the ancestral healing as well. So now I do, I'm a Reiki master. I do a lot of cord cuttings of energies that no longer serve you. I am very educational on that type of stuff as well. Very green witch vibes, very white witch vibes. I sell my own teas. Speaking of, I have one right here.
Ooh, what tea is it?
This one is called
I'd like to
Vanilla
know.
Solitude. This one's Vanilla Solitude, so it's chamomile and vanilla, and it's very calming and relaxing. So for me, I had mad anxiety coming on here because I haven't been live in ages. I don't know what questions you're going to ask me, yada, yada, yada. Leap of faith, fuck self-doubt, mug, and a calming
I love
tea.
it.
That's my combo.
That's epic. I freaking love that, honestly. I'm so intrigued. What made you get into the teas? Like, how did that begin?
Well, yeah, it turns out my great-great-grandmother was very green witch as well. She was communicating to me a lot, and she was talking to me in the kitchen, make this, make that, this is for that. And now I have, you know, all the cough syrups, all the nasal sprays, all the hair stuff. I know how to make it all because she helped me find certain things in my local area. to put together, and boom, next thing you know, that actually helps to cure this and that. And then I thought, well, how about we rein it in and do something nice and simple? So I looked into making some tea, and I love a good cup of tea. And I saw a bunch of herbalists at the Spirit Festival out in the city a few years ago. I was so drawn to that, and I thought, well, why not make my own? So yeah, made a couple.
Man, and they're available on your website or through you?
Yeah, through me. So they're loose leaf, so I don't do the tea bags, but I do sell raw crystal strainers as well. So I've got rose quartz, clear quartz, and amethyst.
I might have to, after this, I'm gonna.
So they come in 10 serves or 20 serve packs, and then I make them myself and I'll send them off to you.
That's mad. I love that. And it's something different too. You know, everyone's got the lotions and all that kind of stuff, but tea, I think, is. I don't drink enough tea. I've started drinking soursop though. I don't like. I'm not a tea person. I don't mind a hot chocolate when it's winter, but I really like the soursop. So I was like, oh, something different. I'm stepping outside of my box. So
yeah. Well, maybe I can come up with something a little bit chocolatey, because, see, even now coming up with that intuitive thought, when I think of hot chocolate, I think of that sweet feeling down the back of the throat and on the tongue and the warmth. So if I could create something that has that sweetness but warmth, a little bit of spice to it, I could definitely make that happen. Look at my little oh, yes.
I'm there for it. See how this works, guys? The download is just boom. We just have to speak and feel, and it's the bomb. All right. So, when you had your first, when you first started to discover your gifts, what was the reaction? Because I know you said you had those thoughts that came through, and
she froze.
And what was your reaction to it?
Oh, there we go. My reaction, I thought I was going crazy. I was looking into putting myself into a psych ward, not even kidding. My mum is very down the Christian path, and my dad is very military. So I didn't really have anyone to safely talk to, what I felt at the time, safely talk to. Without feeling judged, and that they would also say that I should be in the loony bin. But my partner, again, he had my back. He said, no, you don't, you're not crazy. It's okay. We'll work through this together. It's all right. This might be just a phase. FYI, it was not a phase. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I thought I was going crazy.
Yeah, I love that you had the support of your partner, because it's not easy when we're going through these types of things, right? We literally do feel like I can see things out the corner of my eyes, and I'm hearing things that I don't feel like they're actually my thoughts, or I'm being shown these things and I have no idea. I remember when I used to drive down the M5 on the Hume Highway, or like on busy roads, I would literally envision in my third eye, what I know is now my third eye, right? People like walking out in accidents and stuff, and I used to think, oh my God, I don't want to see this stuff, you know, and it can be quite unraveling, like unnerving in some aspects, depending on what you're seeing and what you're hearing. But I feel like the more you start to find your people and understand it, because we always fear what we don't know, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you had that support of your partner, even if he wasn't sure whether it was a phase or not. How's he feel about it now?
He has been just so, go on, go do it. He's definitely noticed that I'm so much happier when I'm doing this type of stuff. It's just, when you're on your purpose, when you're on your path, you glow differently, and he notices that, you know.
Yeah.
So even he knows, like, for those who follow me, I'm in my mum phase at the moment. So I've had to go from my 8D way down into my 3D again. And it has been really rough, right? Because again, I've gone from 3D to like, yes, manifesting, we're gonna, oh, to, you know, it's a massive adjustment. Um, and I do have that FOMO of, you know, going out and having a drink with the girls or whatever, but also it's actually more of a FOMO of doing readings and healing people. And oh, I can't even explain how much I love doing this stuff, you know,
It's,
like it's just me.
would it be like, you know, when you're watching your favorite TV show, I guess, and you just got to wait for the next season? Is it something like that? Like when
Yeah,
you know that it's coming soon, but it's just not quite there yet. It's like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And even like, you know how they leave you on a cliffhanger on the last episode? It's like when I've finished a reading in mediumship, you know, you're just channeling, you're like blah, 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 and you just like, you don't expect someone to come back and be like, oh, you know, funny you said that because this has happened. But when
Hmm.
it does, it's like, yes, that's so cool. You know, like I love that feeling of that confirmation that comes back to you, like a gender, for example, you know.
Yeah.
It comes back and it's like, oh, congratulations, it's so cool, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do,
those feelings are just the best feelings.
do you still trip yourself out sometimes with the accuracy of things?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah, definitely. But I love that, you
Yeah.
know? Like I
That's what.
love shocking myself and seeing how accurate I could get down to smell, taste, like not even sight and sound, you know, like right down to all the other clairs. It's so cool. And I love teaching that as well for those other spiritualists that like delving in, you know.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, all the chakras, unlocking them, you know, turning them into your favor, reaching your true potential. Oh, I love watching people go through that journey and with a helping hand, you know.
Yeah, because I think that's a key thing, right? You don't talking about feeling alone. You don't actually have to do it alone. There are so many amazing mentors out there that do this stuff,
Yeah.
and can be the light. They can be the torchbearer to show you a way. I don't know about you, Abby, but I I like to the way I teach is it's this is the way I do it. There are many different ways you can find what feels right for you. Is that
Mm.
how you kind of picked it up and learned?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I get messages from some of my close friends, you know, and they're like, I want to do, say, an altar, right? Great, you can do an altar, but what do you want the altar for? Right? Because there's so many things. You can have, like, for example, elements, right? Which is what this one wanted to do. Cool. You can have, you know, a tea light for fire. You can have a feather for air. You can have incense for fire, earth, and air if you want, you know. I was explaining all of that, and then she goes, oh, thank you. And I said, but depending if you want Celtic, if you want Nordic, if you want the Chinese, or because sometimes they have this one in the north and this one in the south, so you can locate it differently on your altar, you know. Or if it's a deity, maybe one doesn't like that and the other one likes that, you know.
Yeah, I love that. I could talk about this stuff honestly. Me and my girlfriends, we sit there and we talk about this stuff, and those real deep convos that you just sit there in like awe with. Oh, it's just an amazing space to be in. So,
Yeah,
how coming back to how you receive. So we were talking kind of brushed a little bit on clairs. Now, as a psychic medium, we obviously can use all of them, but do you gravitate towards one more than another, or like what's your favorite way, I guess, to connect?
I am very visual, but not in the way of seeing something physical. Mine is more up in here. And then oh, look, oh, it's a hard question. Because a lot of it is like knowing. I just hear it, I see it, and then I do it. You know what I mean? I don't really know if I would favor one more than the other. Just naturally, these three just work together, you know? But anytime someone has a conversation with me, even though I haven't had the situation happen to me, I can know it, I feel it, I sense it, you know,
Yeah.
and I can already hear what that person needs to do to change their scenario. So without being in it, my whole life I've been giving people advice when I've got nothing to run it on, you know, except my knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those that are unfamiliar with what that clair is called, it's claircognizance. So
Yeah.
you've got your clairaudience, clairvoyance, claircognizance. There's the clairsentient, and what's the taste one called again? I can never remember.
Clairgustance?
Yeah.
I think that one's nose.
Because
Clairgustance.
yeah, because there's a smell and a taste, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. I never really, I can, being a smoker, I can
I was
taste.
literally gonna say right now I could taste like a cigarette.
Yeah, no, but I can literally, when I'm reading for someone, I can pick up if they've been a smoker, or if I've done a reading for one person one time, and they came into the TikTok live, and straight away before she even actually mentioned anything, I knew she'd been drinking because I could smell alcohol,
Mm,
and then I could taste it, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if you're right. I don't know if we should be doing this
mm,
reading right now.
yeah,
So it's not as strong as the others.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm very clairsentient. So I feel, I get the
yeah.
tap on the shoulders, and I get the niggles, and they show me which body parts, and I speak to the
Ah,
metaphysical.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
trips me out sometimes.
interesting. Mm,
All right, so coming back to that, you'd say voyance would be your,
yeah,
and your
yeah,
cognizant. All right, cool. No, I love that. Now, how you said with mum being very Christian and dad being quite military,
yeah.
how so obviously when they first found out they were a little bit, how are they now?
Yeah, so, oh, strap in. So, my mum was very, everything's okay. It's okay, sweetie. We will get you some help. To a few months later, oh, this isn't a phase. This isn't like a sleepover. Okay, well, you can't hang around your brothers now because you work with the devil, right? So she went down that path. And then my dad was like, okay, do you need help? And I was like, no, but by the way, your mum's standing next to you and she says this, 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 this. And he's just like, oh shit. And then from there, he was like asking questions. And he's been, from that moment, unraveling slowly and surely, because now his daughter is into something that apparently doesn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, now he is out of his job. He volunteers full time at the Australian War Memorial, and he frequently visits the cemetery to take photos of tombstones. And he finds veterans and their families, and he puts them together, and he sends tickets off to get them fixed. and he recreates people's family trees and he
Oh,
sends them to them. And occasionally has a good chat to the spirits that are there. So,
yeah.
yeah, he's now
Wow.
into his mediumship. Not full swing, he doesn't fully know, but he's currently healing his feminine at the moment.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, I absolutely, absolutely love that because sometimes they can be hard nuts to crack, but when they're able to crack right open, the beautiful stuff that comes from that, and the embracing of it, it actually just gave me tingles when you were talking. So I absolutely
I
love
have
that.
full body chills. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm actually really close to my dad, like really close. He's very into his clairsentience and he realized that he always has as well.
Mm.
And in fact, literally yesterday, he calls me and he goes, "You know how I can see like years into the future and stuff?" I was like, "Yes, Dad." He goes, "I have a feeling." I'm like, "Okay, we'll see how that unfolds."
I love that. My dad's the type of bloke. And this is where I get my wit and my humor from, right? My dad would be the type of bloke to really like if I was like, oh, how you going, Dad? He'd be like, well, you should know, like those
Mm,
types of muck around punny dads. Very,
yeah.
very, yeah. But no, I love that you've been able to connect closer with Dad because
Mm,
honestly, it's one of the best things to do um, when we're able to share these
mm,
types of bits with the world and with especially with the ones that we love. I
yeah.
absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Now,
Mum's healing her masculine now. So she, her and I are a bit closer now.
mhm.
Because unfortunately, it's had to take a lot of loss for her to then all of a sudden go, "My daughter's psychic. She can read you, so be careful." Yeah, it's turned into that. So we're working through it.
Oh no, that's good. I love that. I honestly, that's awesome. Now, um, what has been your biggest lesson on this journey so far? What do you think it was your biggest lesson?
Oh, to release control, massive. Um, yeah, I've had a huge masculine wound because of the whole military side of things, and being in constant fight or flight, very low self worth, very high self doubt. Um, and because of that, I've had the need to, you know, I couldn't be alone. I had an abandonment wound. I had to control this, control that. What are you doing? Where are you going? You need to be here. What am I doing? You know, this is how everything's going to work. Here's a plan, and this is how we're going to execute it. But
Mm,
of course, when you've got a deep wound like that, what happens? The universe throws all of these things where it's like, no, let it go, surrender. You didn't plan for this one, did you? So now how are you gonna, you know? And it's very like, oh shit, I wasn't prepared for that. Exactly. You know, exactly.
lesson
So
incoming.
now that's why this live, I was going to go, I know she's going to ask me about my spiritual awakening. And I was like, I'm not going to write it down. No, I know. I don't need a plan. I don't know what questions she's going to ask me. Just because I'm a psychic doesn't mean I'm going to like, what is she going to ask me? You know, just freeball it. And this is me now releasing control and just being me. And, you know, I didn't do myself up. I'm a mum now. Come on.
Right. And that's a question I've actually got for you. So when when you felt pregnant, um, what was that like when it came to like did you still do readings? Did you still connect? What did you do in that aspect? Did you up your protection? What how did you
Oh,
manage that?
yeah. So when I fell pregnant, all the leeches came out. They were basically the universe was sending me a lot of greedy people. So
Mm.
that there was for me to go, I would usually be able to definitely take all of these readings on board, right? And I would usually be okay with them asking an extra 5 questions after their time. I'd do it because I just want to help. I just want to love and all of that. But at that point, it was like, I'm pregnant now. I'm also sending energy down to my own baby, and this baby is also feeling this grief, this sadness, this happiness, this emotional roller coaster. I needed to learn about boundaries, and even like energetic boundaries, but even with my own family, my own friends that I thought were friends at the time, and even with spirit. I needed to go, hey, this is too much for me. I don't need to know all this extra stuff right now. I am focused on myself and my child. So I called upon my team and I said, hey guys, I know this is a bit of an awkward one, but I love that I'm gifted and I am blessed, but can we just switch it off until I've had my baby? And so I did switch it off at the very end of the pregnancy. And a few weeks after I had Olive, it started to come back nice and slowly and trickled back in. And it was beautiful to be able to connect with my daughter and see some of the things that she would telepathically show me, be able to experience that stuff again was just
Yeah.
amazing. Mm.
Oh, that sounds, oh my goodness, that sounds, I can't imagine what that would be like, being able to
Yeah,
have that that deep connection
yeah,
with your child, on that
yeah.
level.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Well, even falling pregnant again with Poppy so soon, I was still, I was just about to come back into, yes, Spud's back, let's do this full time. And then, boom, pregnant. So I just decided this time I was going to take it easy, not focus too much energy externally, focus it more inward with my own family and continue to lay a strong foundation before I start going into other manifestations because it wasn't until, you know, I was sitting on the couch one day with Olive crying, going, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're going to have a sibling so soon and I have to not hold you anymore and I can't lift you anymore. You're so heavy and all of this. Um, it wasn't till then that I realized I am in my manifestation. This is exactly what I wanted. I mean, for those who have followed me in my pregnancy journey with PCOS and endometriosis, I've got 2 kids. What? You know? So sometimes I do need to pull myself in a bit and go, this is what I manifested. It's not the lottery, but it's my lottery, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's epic. I absolutely love that. And I think it's also good to let people know too that boundaries with spirit are okay.
Yeah.
Some people don't put spirit boundaries in with spirit, and then they're wondering why they can't sleep, or you know, being able to have just things pop in and out whenever they're choosing. You get to decide to put boundaries up. Sure, you're going to have some fence jumpers, the ones that give you the splinters in the ass, but
Yeah.
there's other ones where you're allowed to. When I first started learning how to connect, literally put an I'm open for business sign up, like literally, like I was
Mm.
running a store, and that's when I would allow them to come in. And as I got a bit better with it, I allowed them to come in a little bit more, and now
Yeah.
I have certain team members, I guess you could call them, coming in and giving me the guidance when I need it. But it is something that you can turn on, because a lot of the times we do have this from a very young age. Did you have experiences as a kid?
Yeah. The one that I remember so vividly is the the tooth fairy, actually. I remember laying in my bed, looking out the window and seeing this white glowing light going across my window like this. And I was looking at it and going, what? Oh, it's the tooth fairy. She was due to come, right? And I thought, quick, close my eyes. Opened them again. And this time it was in my room. And it was floating, this little white orb, floating across my mirror, over the bed. And I thought, quick, close my eyes. And then I opened them and it was gone for a moment. But I looked over at my tooth. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? This is weird. And then I opened them again and I saw it at the window again. And I was sure, I went to sleep and I had the biggest grin on my face. I was like, that was the tooth fairy. That was the tooth fairy. It's real. And I went and told mum and dad and they were like, no, that's not, And that's when they broke it to me. Oh, she's not real, la, la, la. But you know what? Even now, I've still got all the fairy books. I've still got all my fairy statues. And I've already been giving them to my daughters.
Oh, I love that. That's nice.
Yeah, I used to be so into fairies and dragons and things like that.
Yeah, the mystical side, I love that. That's awesome. I remember mine was a little bit scarier than that. I used to see shadows. My brother used to sleepwalk, so I could tell what the outline of my brother was versus someone else. And up until the age of seven, I was still trying to run in and sleep in mum and dad's bed because I would see them at night time. And my mum and dad used to just say, it's just your brother will sleepwalk. I'm like, I know what my brother looks like in the dark, like with the shadows behind him. It's not, but they didn't believe me, and it scared me so much. So I used to also love scary movies and that, so I used to shut it out and be like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, we're very open when we're young because we're not poisoned by the external world and what is,
Well, they say that, ages 0 to 10 is like your programming years. Anything after that, it's like, okay, well, I'm programmed, and then you have all your life lessons and things.
Yeah.
Programs you more, or you can choose.
Finds all the evidence that it's true. Yeah, definitely.
And then the rest of your life is about unlearning that 20, 30 years,
Definitely. All right. So when it comes to, have you got any cool or unreal stories, whether they be spooky ones, whether they be from readings or, anything inspirational? What's a few of your cool stories that you've got?
One cool story.
And what sticks out in your mind the most?
There's two things that stick out. One is what happens quite often is when my partner comes home and he goes, oh, this person at work, never heard of them before. And instantly I'm like, oh, because I can feel them straight away. And he's like, yeah, it's like we've had a whole conversation just off of that.
Oh.
I love that. Like, I know without you telling me. But honestly, the other one would be the birth of Olive. Olive was very traumatic. It was a 42, 46-hour labour. But the whole time I was seeing and hearing a lot of stuff. And it wasn't until we were leaving home to go to the hospital after 24 hours, I remember sitting in the car and hearing my dad's great-grandmother say, it's going to be a C-section, right? And I went, what? She goes, yeah, you're going to have to prepare yourself. You're going to be in for a while more, but it's going to be a C-section, but I'm going to be there. It's going to be okay. Everyone's going to be there. Don't worry about it. So by the time I got to the hospital, I was mentally like, all right, I have my plan, right? Going to have a C-section. It's okay. we're all good. I'll deal with the emotional stuff later. That's my trauma response, is I'm chill until it's done, you know? So I was like, okay, we're going to have a C-section, blah, blah, blah. And then I did end up in a C-section, and my partner left and we had the baby. And I remember looking at Olive and then feeling this wave of energy come over my head. And I instantly got chills. And I looked up and I could feel weight on my legs, and I could see my past pet, the dog that I had growing up. I could see the one who told me who was going to, that I was going to have a C-section. I could see her husband. I could see my Uma, and I could see the room absolutely packed full of all sorts of beings, not just the ancestors, you know. That moment was the moment that I finally released control and cried my eyes out after all of that labor, sitting there with my baby and seeing them all there, like physically now, not just here. It was all there. I just felt safe. I felt loved. I felt protected. I felt, even though that was pretty shitty, I'm so grateful to be here, surrounded by all of this love that I didn't even know I had. But there is a whole entire team behind you when you've got no idea. It's not just your past pet. It's not just your grandmother, grandfather, mother, dad. There's so many. Like, you're talking past lives, you're talking deities, you're talking, angels, gods, goddesses, you're talking past life, like freaking, Atlantis, Arcturians, Palladians, yeah, like all of them, whatever you're aligned with, they're there, especially in moments like that, big moments or accidents or breakups or whatever it may be, pivotal moments in your life, they're there. Okay? So whoever's watching, even if you feel alone, believe me, you're not. There's your room, there's no room to walk. Okay? Like, it's full.
That's so true, and you just have to open yourself up to allowing yourself to feel it, right? And it's getting lost in your imagination per se,
Yeah.
because if you can think it here, it can be real here. So that's what I always like to remind people, and they're only ever a breath away. That's I love that. I love that story. That's probably my favorite part of the night. Thinking about your daughter being there and just seeing everybody.
Yeah. It was the most unreal experience. It was so unreal that it was real. And I was shocked that it was real, and I made it and I did it, Yeah. Couldn't believe it.
One protected little girl too, by the sounds of it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I can hear my partner in my head going, "Believe it, baby." That's what he always says.
Oh, that's awesome. All right.
Hi, Olive. I was talking about you. Yeah. Hi. Hi.
He sensed it.
Yeah, she sometimes on a live, she'll pull a card for people. Bang on.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hello. You're gorgeous. Look at those curls.
She's so big now. Oh my gosh.
How old is she now?
She's 1 year and 4 months old.
Wow.
And Poppy is 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
Look at the incense. Oh, can you smell?
Adorable. Love her little cheeks. All right. So have you when you started diving into studying and understanding a bit more, do you have a favorite book? Like what book or author or mentor stood out to you the most that you got like those moments from?
Yeah, so actually, the Green Witch book here, this was my
Ooh.
go-to, definitely. Then, because they're obviously right here, um, then I went into the Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. That helped me with the teas and things like that as well, those two books. Then I went into the Practical Witches because I thought I just liked the name. I was very drawn to it. But the same thing, it was very much into like home lifestyle altars, you know, very Green Witch vibes. Like everything is very herbal, very healing, you know, very natural. And exactly the same, yeah, herbal magic speaks for itself. But says little tricks like having a tea bag of lavender under the pillow, for example, can help with sleep. Could tell you what crystals to have in what rooms, you know, what color candles for what type of spell work you want to do. Typically, my type of spell work is for self-love, self-healing, clearing, cleansing, protection, that type of stuff. I'm not a ill will type person at all. So, yeah.
No, that's awesome. I've never really done spells. I mean, well, our words are our spells, right? So that's manifestation. There's probably
Yeah.
I get to spells, but when you're doing that, it's always intrigued me. I've had a witch on here before that kind of talked about what she done. So what when you're doing a spell, say for self love,
Yeah.
what would that entail?
So self-love, it's very a lot of affirmations. Depends if you want to work.
Oh, we're frozen. Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, it froze.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm green. I should be okay. Yeah, it kind of depends if you want to work with the moon or not. It depends whether you want to work with your ancestors or anyone, or you could literally just want to work with yourself and your own intuition. Nice and simple, little tea light, little plate, rose quartz crystals, some rose petals. Think pink, think divine light, think white energy, purple energy, even green for the heart space. That's why I like going outside, usually in the grass. Sometimes I add cinnamon for warmth, protection, abundance, things that make me, you know, get into that inner child and feel that love, like that real love that I know that I want. Yeah, and then it's a lot of affirmations of things that I'm going to let go of, things that I am, things that, you know, and when I say things that I am also the person that I was, right? That 12, 80-year-old, you know, ancient wise soul. I am all of it. So just embracing all parts of me and yeah, or you could, you know, spell work, you could even do it in a bath, right? Sprinkle some rose petals in your bath, some chamomile, have some tea lights around, sit hand on heart, hand on, you know, that sacral, just below the belly button, and just say those affirmations. You know, I love myself, I am here for me, I've got me, I am worth it, I love me, you know. You know, the kicker one, I am proud of me. That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a really big one because we don't
Yeah, there's just little things like that.
we don't acknowledge and we don't celebrate enough the wins that we've had, right? The
Yeah.
little wins and the big wins with we celebrate everybody else, but not ourselves enough. So I absolutely, that is definitely the kicker.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So what
Yeah.
is your favorite? What would you say your favorite thing is about what you do?
I just love being able to get into my heart space and provide a safe space. I always say at the beginning of my lives, welcome in and welcome home. That's all I ever want to do,
Ooh, I love
is have
that.
a nice home, safe space for people to just sit and relax and be themselves. You don't have to channel into all these things, but just feel at home somewhere. I love it.
Yeah. So many people. I love that. So many people, especially on this space. There's some. We're on the pretty good side of TikTok, but there's some pretty
Oh
dark
yeah,
sides where they can get quite nasty. And having that space to
yeah.
just allow people to come in and vibe and listen and be listened
Mm,
to, that's so
yeah,
important. So thank you for also providing that space. I know
yeah. That's
you've
it.
got an amazing energy. Absolutely love your vibe, and
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, that you can provide that space for people is awesome. So, what advice would you give someone going through? We've said your biggest lesson was to surrender, but what type of advice would you give someone embarking on a spiritual awakening or wanting to tap into their senses a bit more and really kind of dive into mediumship or psychic abilities? What advice would you say to them?
Trust yourself and figure out, like, number one is figure out what voices are really yours and what voices aren't. Because when you go through a spiritual awakening, it's not all you are Jesus. It's not all that, right? Like, sometimes it gets there. But sometimes it's also like, this is crazy, this is stupid, you shouldn't be doing this, you're going crazy. Sometimes those voices creep into. My number one bit of advice is just sit with the voices, all of them, one at a time, slow it down, write it all on paper. Which one in your gut feels right and what doesn't? Even if it's a little bit like, but that's scary, that's okay. It can be scary. But what feels right? Sometimes
I
it's
love that.
just you're comfortable in being uncomfortable. It's not meant to be easy making a change. It's meant to be the hardest thing you've ever done until the next one comes along. you know, I don't know.
Perfect advice. That's, yeah, that's awesome. Um, so, what are the services that you've actually got available at the moment? So you still got you're doing your teas and your lotions and stuff. And what other what else can people access? Oh, I don't know if this is my internet. Is everyone? Am I freezing for everybody else? So I think like they're I might have Macca's Wi-Fi at the moment. Sorry. Just see. We all good? And I'm just gonna be back. I'm gonna close the door in my husband's room because all I can hear is a bear snoring. So just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. We still there? I think we might have frozen. Let's see. Um, she's froze again. We we're back. Can you hear me? There we go. Oh.
Oh. Back.
Hello. You're back. Can you hear me? Am I frozen too? Or is it just Spud? Because I can see me moving. This is what happens when you get amazing vibes and energy together. It fucks the system. It always happens. But you're dropping in and out. Oh, okay. Well, hang on. Let's see if this works. There we go. Oh no. We all good? Might have to.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. You back?
Is that better?
That's better.
Yeah? Okay,
It's better.
she took my phone. That's why. Because I've got my hotspot on for my tablet.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, run away with it. That's why. So sorry.
You're all right. I started thinking, I thought it would have been my Macca's Wi-Fi over here. I have issues, tech issues.
Oh, mum life.
Probably
I started getting
struggle with that.
sweaty. I was like, oh. Oh.
Well, the good thing was it wasn't paused on one of those moments where it's like, you know, either one of those weird.
Yeah.
It always
that's
tends.
good.
I was doing a podcast with one of my mentors, and every time you could hear me perfectly, crisp, right?
Yeah.
But the pixels and the freezing,
Yeah. Oh, God.
I would always have these really become very expressive when I'm talking, and you could just imagine what that would have been like. Anyway.
Sometimes it would happen
So,
when I'm doing Reiki. I'd be stuck there and I'm like, oh. You know, and people are like, are you moving? Or are you... Meanwhile, I've done the whole body. Yeah.
Vogue.
Yeah, so what am I doing now? I've got my teas, I've got some strainers. If you want, you can choose your strainer, or you can let me intuitively do your strainer and tea. But at the moment, my main service is email readings. So typically they're half an hour, but they're oracle or mediumship. I love doing the mediumship over the oracle only because, especially with the email one, it's automatic writing. So I'm not the one writing the email. It's either the higher self of the person or their family member, or, you know, because it always comes in as, you know, if it's the higher self, I'll be writing, I need this and I need to, you know. It's so amazing finishing it. My timer goes off and I'm like, what did I miss? And I read it all back and it's like, wow, what a message. So I love the mediumship. But with the oracles, I can still do that. What I do is I will be writing while I'm looking at the cards. I'm feeling it. You know, I'm channeling in. And I'll also send some photos of those cards. But I love the messages where you don't really have a specific question, comment, or concern. I love it when people want to go, you know, what is it I actually need to hear? You know, I don't want to answer, is this person coming back? I want to answer things like, what do you really need in your life? Let's unravel. Let's do this. You know, it's so amazing to reread because, you know, even as a reader, we reflect our clients at the time in a specific area. It could be the whole thing, or it could be one sentence in the whole entire reading that we actually really, really relate to and we need, you know, to hear as well. So
Yeah. And how can they access that? Have you got a website, or is it just through your TikTok, or how do they?
so just the link in my bio, there's my link tree there. It's best off to email me, because I don't set times aside, as you never know with children at the moment. I mean, she's meant to be asleep right now. She's running around with my phone, right? She had cake. Uh, you can blame Mr. Potatoes for that one. Um, but so I usually get it done within 24, 48 hours, and you'll have the email. So just the
Awesome.
link in my bio. Contact me by email, through TikTok, anything like that. We'll sort something out.
So, guys, if you aren't already following Abigail, also known as Absolute Spud, make sure you're gonna go over and chuck her a follow and check out all the things that she's got to offer via email. So, if you just email her, you can send. Have you got like a video, or like a thing where they can have a look at what your teas look like? And
Yes, I do. You'd have to scroll down a bit for the teas, but I could probably redo it and do something recent, or I can just pin it. Probably I can do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Right.
I'm gonna drop it into the comments now. So if anybody has any questions, now is the time to drop them in. If you want to know anything about Spud, or if you're, have an idea to speak to, whatever it is, and then we'll drop in and do some. Spud's gonna pull a couple of cards for us.
Yeah.
So do you use Oracle, do you? Or is it tarot, or do you?
Yeah, so look, everyone seems to be using the tarot, but I just don't connect to it. I don't know. I'm more of an imagery person. So as soon as I see a card, I love all the images and stuff, and I really delve into that. I could read tarot, but I like to study it first.
I spent my whole life in a box following the rules, so now I chuck the rule book out the window, and I'm like, tarot's a little bit more structured for me. I like a zip all over the place. But Deb's actually got a question here. How did you navigate judgment as you started your business?
That's a big one. So when I started my business, I was losing a lot of people in my life. I was realizing that I wasn't really aligning with a lot of people anymore, so I didn't really have many people around me. However, I was still being a waitress, and I still had my family. And when my mum came across and I said to her that I was starting a business, it was very, oh my gosh, I need to take you to church. We need to stop this. And my dad was like, this is interesting. It's all well and good saying something, but are you going to do it? And the job at the time, I was very quiet. I was worried about judgment, big time. I was very anxious. I didn't want to tell anyone, but I was seeing and feeling a lot of stuff at the time, and I just refused to kind of express it until I found other readers on TikTok. I actually started off with Josh. I don't know if you guys know Josh. And then I found Ramsey. Then there was Angela. There was this community, then Jen, then you. I started finding these people, and I realized that I wasn't quite alone. So I was kind of sitting in the background for a while, until eventually I thought maybe I should try going live and just give this thing a go, So I went live, did a few affirmation cards, and people started giving that feedback, and it was giving me confidence slowly and surely. And, it was kind of giving me myself that evidence of, no, I am right. I am good at this. I'm not crazy. There are other people like me. And then I started saying things to people at work, and eventually I thought, well, I'm actually really fucking good at this. So why don't I just make a business of it? And so I started just doing weekends, or if I wasn't working, I'd jump on a live, see how I went, and it'd be like, whoa, I had a wicked life, you know. Eventually it just grew that community, and it made me feel like I was creating my own home for people to join.
Mm.
And yeah, just my own community brought me my confidence that I didn't know I needed, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. That's a good question, Deb. Thanks for asking that.
Yeah.
How do you know if you are, Samantha asks, how do you know if you're awakening or just going insane?
Cool. Okay, a big one is a lot of signs and synchronicities. So recurring numbers, feathers, you think something and next thing you know it's happened. A name comes up a few times. Like when you start noticing a few things happening over and over again, start to kind of do your research into it a bit. Why is this happening? What is happening at that specific time to have that same thought again? You know, assess your surroundings. Yeah, specifically, even like, even in your dreams, dreams happen to show you messages. Just pay attention to your dreams, write things down as much as you can, because the parts that you remember are the most important parts. Okay, so don't worry about what you missed. It's okay. What you remember is the most important parts. Whether it's past loved ones or it could be a fear that's come up. Um, Pay attention to those things because they help you. Oh, daddy got you. Oh,
Oh,
they help you to kind of unravel yourself and awaken a little bit more. So if you start to notice synchronicities, that's a big one. If you find yourself in a book of chakras, you're awakening. Okay.
little chakras.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have we got any more questions, guys? I'll just scroll up and see if we've got any more. Otherwise, we'll go on to the cards. Yes, that has been happening. I found out everything I thought was true. I don't dream or can't remember.
Yeah.
I think with when it comes to dreams, if you want to remember, try just setting the intention. And if you're wanting to start to record your dreams, having a book by the bed is good. So when you get up, you can scribble them down. Because I don't
Yes,
know
I
about
do.
anybody else, because I can remember it really vividly when I wake up. Within 10 minutes, I'm like, fuck, what happened again?
Yeah.
Ah, no, that person did that. And then it kind of, by the afternoon, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's really good to kind of keep a note of it.
Mm.
Awesome. All right. Well, what are we going to do? How would you like to? So we usually pull a couple of cards. Did you want to do a collective, or did you want to pick a couple of people? How do you want to work it?
Well, I am feeling that I might tap into the collective through mediumship and see what we come out with. Girl, you need a cigarette. Okay. All right. Okay, setting my intention, getting into this collective energy. Just closing out what's happening in my house. Okay, so I'm feeling a lot of blockages happening in the throat at the moment for this collective, but it feels like it's pushing up. Where is it pushing up from? I feel it in my chest, but I'm actually feeling it down in the sacral. So this collective, it's time to sing. It's time to speak out. It's time to, you know, bring those affirmations to life. I'm definitely feeling that inner child, but the inner child feels more grown up, I'd say, in the teens. Pay attention to that teenage version of yourself, whatever music you were into at the time. What were you listening to? It's time to delve into that part of your healing journey. Who were you surrounded by? How were you feeling at that time? How was school? How was your family? What type of people were you hanging around? Your relationships? Start listening to that music that you were listening to then. Some of it brings you joy. Some of it very well doesn't. Maybe music was your coping mechanism. Growing up, my mouth is dry. I feel like I'm salivating a lot. I feel like it hasn't been expressed in such a long time, and that version of your inner child just wants to come out and be heard as the version of you now. Look how far that you've come. You know, when you listen to that music and go, wow, I was listening to that and it was quite sad, or it could have been quite motivational. But this here, I feel like that roughness, that depression type of energy that may have come with bullying or bad relationships through high school. Notice the lyrics of those songs that you were listening to then. How can you transmute that version of yourself? So if it was I'm alone, how could I change that into I am not alone, I am loved, I'm protected? What type of music do you listen to now? Really pay attention to that. Sometimes you can program your own day by creating your playlist of what you want to listen to. How do you want to feel? What brings you confidence? I feel like self-doubt and lack of confidence were the two, which is probably why, right? I feel like those things are coming up for the collective at the moment, and the throat, it's right there. It's like you've already started breaking that and opening it up, but there's just some truths, like it's almost like the things that have been coming up have been quite aggressive. So give yourself some grace, because those times that you were going through, yeah, they were rough. And yes, you can transmute them and I am this now and all of that. But give yourself the grace that, yeah, you did feel like that once. And it's okay. You know, just look at yourself. And like I said, you're that 5-year-old version, you're that 18-year-old version, and you're also that 80-year-old version of yourself. You're all of them at once. So take the time to respect that. Get into that voice, be graceful, be kind to yourself, you know. Yeah, it's interesting because I actually wrote a voice. That's a light code as well. Some people that's a light code. So some people, if you feel like you want to start rolling your tongue and start speaking gobbledygook, just do it. Even if you're in the room on your own and you start going, just do it. If that's what you're being called to do, do it. It's your throat chakra wanting to be activated. Okay, and the fact that I can see the squiggly line and I didn't just do a straight line, this is flow. Okay, this isn't straight to the point, this is flow. All right, find your flow. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, it is. I just saw that's it.
That was unreal. I know there's a few people in here that were saying they were resonating hard with it, and I know a few people as well. It was chef's kiss on point.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Amazing. I absolutely am so, so grateful for you, Spud, and thank you for taking the time to sit with us.
Yeah,
and
no worries.
tell us your story. It's an amazing story at that. So, guys, if you aren't already following Spud, please go and tuck her an amazing follow and check out her stuff. I feel like there's a lot more coming from you in the coming years, especially with that tea stuff. That as soon as you told me, my sacral went boink. I was like, "Ooh, I'm not a tea drinker, but I'm intrigued, and I'm gonna send you a message." Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, I better get to my babies now.
Thank you. Someone else is clearing their throat chakra.
Yeah, I was like, damn, like as soon as I felt the throat and then Olive went, I was like, yeah, girl, you got it.
Thank you so much again. I hope to have you on again sometime soon this year.
Yeah, we'll do. Excited.
Yeah, we'll have a subject next time.
Yeah, cool.
All right, awesome.
All right. Much love, guys. Have a beautiful day, night, evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Much love, and we'll chat soon.
See you. Bye.